diet and lifestyle, uh, reduce stress, and get enough sleep. So those are, if you do those three things, it should start, increasing your testosterone levels naturally. Testosterone also helps you build lean muscle. So you'll get lean muscle, which will increase your metabolism, and also that will help you reduce your weight further. Testosterone is a male hormone. It does play a role in women's health also.
What one key piece of advice would you like to give to all the entrepreneurs watching and listening today?
For any health condition, if you can modify your lifestyle and your diet, you'll see benefits for sure.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Business Growth Show. I'm your host, Ethan Cassiotis, and today I have an awesome guest. His name is Dr. Ani Railkar. He is a pharmaceutical scientist who has worked in the pharmaceutical industry for 25 years, and he's the award-winning author of the book, The Great Testosterone Myth, Honest Facts, No Hype. And he is passionate about men's health, including being a health coach, and he helps men reclaim their energy, confidence, and vitality naturally. Welcome, Dr. Ani, and thank you for being on the Business Growth Show.
Well, thank you very much, Ethan. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome, mate. I'm sure it's going to be an amazing show for everyone watching and listening today. And you are a successful entrepreneur. So for those people who don't know who you are, just introduce yourself by telling us more about you and your journey.
So I was born and brought up in India. I got my bachelor's in chemistry from India, and then I came here for graduate school. I got my master's and PhD in pharmaceutical sciences, and then I started working. I worked for multinational companies like Johnson and Johnson, Merck, Pfizer, and then currently I'm working at a small biotech startup. But also, about 2016, I wrote a book which you kindly mentioned, The Great Testosterone Myth, Honest Facts, No Hype. And then I created a course based on that book. It's a 10 module course, and I decided to help men over 30 who have low testosterone levels to increase their testosterone levels naturally. And that is something that I'm very passionate about because it was based on a personal experience. I noticed some of those things myself, and then being a scientist, I went about doing some research on it, and then that's how the book came about, and that's how the course came about. And I would like to help as many men as possible to increase their testosterone levels naturally.
Yeah, nice, mate. I love the story there. You went through the industry and then you found things, and then you obviously went through the experience, right? And so tell us this, right? Because you mentioned over 30 there, right? So what happens, I guess, in with testosterone, the hormones and things like that from 30 years old? Yeah.
Okay, so studies have shown that after the age of 30, men start losing testosterone at the rate of 1% per year. So when you're 40, you already lost 10% of your testosterone. When you're 50, you lost 20% of your testosterone. And as you get older, you lose more and more testosterone. And then, testosterone plays a big role, not just for muscle building and masculinity, but it protects your bones, it protects your heart, it protects your genitourinary system. So it is a hormone that has effects on a lot of biological systems. And so it's not just that you lose the ability to build muscle or whatever, but there are other things that happen when you lose testosterone. And in many cases, I'll give you my own example. The symptoms are not very clear. I personally didn't know what was happening until I talked to my doctor and he asked me to do a blood test, and my blood test then revealed that I had very low testosterone, and that's how I found out. So for a lot of men, the signs are not very pronounced; they are very subtle. And so I thought that if I went through it being a scientist, somebody who's not a scientist would probably have a difficult time knowing that they have low testosterone. So that's why I decided to write that book and help men uh, understand what they're going through.
Yeah, I love it. Let's delve a bit deeper into the science. You said obviously they're more subtle and that as well now. Obviously getting the blood test makes sense, right? In doing that at some point. But if you know we're before that point, because not everyone goes for blood tests regularly and stuff like that. So what are some of the things that we should be looking out for?
Okay, so one of the things is like, you start putting fat or weight around your abdominal area. So like belly fat, then you start realizing that like what I realized was that it was taking me longer to recover from exercise or like strenuous activity. Like say, for example, if I went for a hike, it took me a longer time to get back to normal. Or if I did a intense exercise, it took me longer to get back to normal. And then also you lose desire, so your libido goes down, your desire for sex goes down. And I think if you're in a committed relationship, I think sex plays an important role in that relationship. And then also other things, like I said, just like women when they go through menopause, they have to worry about osteoporosis. When men start losing testosterone, they also have to worry about osteoporosis because men's bones can also get brittle and then they could be susceptible to fractures. So some of the signs and symptoms, like I said, are belly fat or abdominal fat, loss of desire, low libido, uh, longer recovery periods after strenuous activity. So if you notice something like that, then I would say definitely talk to your doctor because, like you rightly pointed out, testosterone is not something normally we test. We test for cholesterol, we test for something else, but testosterone levels are not normally tested. So that's something then you should talk. But those are the signs and symptoms that you should look for.
Yeah, nice. It's interesting, actually. I like to. I'm going to go a bit of a tangent here. Something that I read. So I recently had my first child. Right, is almost 11 months old when we were recording this, and I read that apparently our testosterone as a male decreases when we have a child, and that's maybe a genetic thing, because of maybe being closer, being more nurturing, or something like that. Is that a thing? Is that true?
Yeah, there is some truth to that. I think the our maternal and paternal instincts get activated when we have a child, and I think because of that, I don't think there is a very clear, scientifically backed study that has done that, like where they have done two sets of people, where one set of people don't have kids and the other set of people have kids, and then measured the testosterone levels. But yes, there is some anecdotal evidence that indicates that as you become a parent, for men, your testosterone levels do drop.
Yeah, it's very interesting on that one, right? And I heard it was around so that because in the old school time, so that you don't look for other partners, right? Like, for other women, you sort of stay there with the woman that you're with, right? That you're having the child with before maybe marriage and stuff, from an evolutionary standpoint back then. So it's very interesting on that side. One thing that I want to know as well, right? Because I've looked a little bit into the testosterone side of things, and it's obviously a range, right? Like when you get tested, there's like a low and a high point, and you could be in a median range. And when I've spoken to doctors, I'd like to know your opinion, right? Because being in a median range, they might think, oh, you might not want to do something about that, but then maybe another way is, well, but you're lower than what you could be, and that could actually increase your vitality and all these things, right? That are the benefits of boosting it, even if you're, not overly low, you're in the medium range. So what are your thoughts around that? Yeah, and increasing it.
Yeah, so I would say that if you're, losing testosterone is part of normal aging, right? As we age, we tend to lose testosterone. And while that is something that is normal, what I would say is if it really starts bothering you, in the sense that if you, like in my situation, my testosterone levels were really low, and there is a medical condition called hypogonadism. And so testosterone replacement therapy is actually indicated for people who have low levels, that is below 300 nanograms per deciliter. Okay, so if you are below that, then you should think about it. But one thing that I would like to make sure is that like people realize that when you start taking testosterone replacement therapy, you should be aware of a few things. Uh, it suppresses, when you take external testosterone, it suppresses your body's natural ability to release testosterone. So whatever testosterone your body is releasing, it will stop. The other thing is, uh, testosterone replacement therapy has side effects. They sometimes blood pressure goes up, people's blood becomes thicker because higher amount of red blood cells are in the blood. So you have to watch out for those things. But like I said, if you're medically, uh, if you have hypogonadism, and if you start seeing other things like, uh, you know, having breast, which is called gynecomastia, then in those type of situations, I would definitely say that you should consult a doctor and then talk about testosterone replacement therapy. But I think if your normal life is not affected, then I think you should try natural uh, methods to increase your testosterone, which is what I actually propose. Like I don't, being a pharmaceutical scientist, I will never say don't take medicine. I will always say do it, but do it when you are informed about everything, not just, like, oh, I want to increase my testosterone. There is definitely pros and cons to doing that.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, right? It's like you said, if you have a very low, then you need it because you should think about it because you need to bump it up like probably a lot, right? To get to that point. Whereas if you're not that low, then doing the natural stuff, that makes sense to me, right? Because then you can do it over time. It's not as important to sort of do it in a very quick element. So let's talk about these natural ways, right? I'm very intrigued. So what are some natural ways that we can increase our testosterone levels?
Well, one of the first things I recommend to people who come to me for advice is that they should try to change their diet and lifestyle. Like if you are smoking, quit smoking. If you're not getting any amount of exercise, start getting some moderate, like start slow, getting some moderate level of exercise. Just go out for a walk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then slowly add time to it. You can, but, and then now one thing I would like to mention is that aerobic exercise like cardio or whatever doesn't increase your testosterone. What increases your testosterone primarily through exercise is weight training and strength training, where multiple muscle groups are involved, and you're doing compound movements. So those are the type of exercises that can increase your testosterone. One of the biggest things I think you should look at also is sleep, because testosterone is one of those hormones like growth hormone that is secreted at night. And when you're sleeping at night, these hormones like growth hormone, testosterone, they are released and they repair your body while you're sleeping. So if you're not getting sound sleep of 7 to 8 hours, then your testosterone levels are going to be low. And when I say 7 to 8 hours, it has to be deep sleep. It cannot be, you cannot have restless sleep. And so what they call the REM sleep, right? Rapid eye movement sleep, which is where you're in deep sleep, and that's when your body repairs itself. So getting sleep, reducing your stress, because what happens is when your stress increases, whether it's pressure from work, pressure from family, pressure from financial conditions, whatever it is, stress releases cortisol, and cortisol is a stress hormone which suppresses testosterone. So if you have too much stress in your life, then so do stress management techniques like meditation, yoga, stretching at night, lavender baths, whatever you can do to relax yourself so that you don't start releasing cortisol. So those are the things I would recommend, and definitely diet. Like eat high protein foods. You don't necessarily have to eat red meat, but red meat has the most amount of protein that is useful for testosterone, because most people don't know this, but cholesterol is one of the building blocks of testosterone. Because so if you get cholesterol from animal sources or from outside, like eating dairy, butter, cheese, then you can increase your testosterone because you get cholesterol, and then cholesterol is one of the building blocks of testosterone. So the three things that I would recommend is diet and lifestyle, uh, reduce stress, and get enough sleep. So those are, if you do those three things, it should start, increasing your testosterone levels naturally.
Yeah, I love it. And I want to delve deeper into this a little bit there. That's really powerful. So exercise, right? You mentioned about weight and strength training. So, like for example, I play sport, like I play soccer, right? Now, that's obviously a bit more high intensity, and there's a lot of running with my legs and things like that that happen. Is something like that, depending on the sport, would that do it, or would it be more something into a gym that you're lifting weights and things like that? Like, what does that entail? Yeah.
No, so one of the things that I also increases your testosterone is high intensity interval training, right? Which where you have short bursts of activity followed by short duration of rest, and then again short burst of activity. So I think when you're playing a sport like basketball or foot or soccer or whatever, you're running, you're passing the ball, and then you have some rest while somebody else is playing with the ball, or when you're playing basketball, you're driving to the basket, you put the basket, and as you're going back, you have small levels of rest in between again, and then you turn around and then you're running back again. So I think sports would classify as a high HIIT, high intensity interval training. So that would definitely help. Yes.
Yeah, awesome. That's good to know. Helping me in my element of sports, because that's my that's my preferred. I like sports like soccer or other things because it doesn't feel like I'm working out, right? Because like I'm enjoying
Yeah,
the thing,
exactly.
right?
And
Yeah.
that's the key, because like if you make it something fun, then you're not looking at it as, oh, I have to go to the gym, or oh, I have to work out. You're just it becomes a fun activity that also builds your testosterone. So I would recommend that definitely.
Yeah, definitely, right. That's that mindset side, right? Of making
Yeah,
it fun,
exactly.
in whatever you're doing here, and knowing the benefits of what it's there. So, yeah, that's awesome. The sleep, makes a lot of sense. It's challenging sometimes, right? Because sometimes we go to events or we do other things and everything like that. So we just got to, I guess, be aware of it, right? Of if we do need to work the late night or get up early on a flight or whatever like that, we just need to make sure we're balancing it, I guess, and not doing it every day. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think, like I don't want to say, oh, don't go out on a weekend and don't have a party or something. But at the same time, like you said, if you balance it out, then once in a while, those type of, you know, uh, uh, like transgressions or whatever you want to call it, those type of things are okay. But I think on a normal basis, and also like people watch TV or they're on their phone, I also recommend people that like they should like stop being on devices about an hour before they want to sleep, and then eat dinner a little earlier, like maybe 2 to 3 hours before you want to sleep, because after you eat dinner, it takes your body 2 to 3 hours to digest what you ate. So if you eat at 10 o'clock and then you're sleeping at 10:30, your body is going to be digesting the food while you're trying to sleep, and that's not a good idea. So I would say 2 to 3 hours before your intended sleep time, have your dinner or your last meal of the day, whatever.
Yeah, awesome. No, I love that. And yeah, the stress ones, I think this is a big one in business, right? As an entrepreneur, there's a lot of stress, right? Especially if we're, paying people in an organization, we're looking at making money, all these things, right? Or pushing ourselves to grow the business. And there's obviously needs to be, yeah, an element here of not burning out and all of that. So I think that's is a really powerful one on doing those things like the meditation and other things like that, right? To reduce it. So yeah, tell us more, because I think there's a lot of different ways of doing meditation and all these other things, right? Of how do we sort of relax ourselves, whether it's during the day as well as at different other times of the day. Yeah.
So one of the things that I do is I close my eyes, I put on some soft music through my microphones and headphones, and I listen to music. I do some breathing, like, I'll take a deep breath in, I'll hold it for 4 seconds or four count, and then release it for six count. So you can do, those type of breathing exercises while you are doing your meditation. And I don't necessarily mean you pray to God or you do something like that. By what I mean is, like, you try to empty your mind of any active thoughts, and then just what I do usually is, like, at the end of the day, I'll sit and I'll try to see what I did during the day, what went right, what went wrong, and what I want to do the next day. So that's something that I do. Like, I call that meditation. There are, I have seen some people that like read non-stress books, like something like comedy or like a light-hearted book, so that they can wind down, so you're not watching TV or you're not on your phone, so something like that. So those are the things that I would recommend. And like, I think also what is important is temperature in the room, the clothes you're wearing, like they should be comfortable clothing. Temperature should be slightly cooler so that you are not hot or you're not sweating. And then, draw blinds so that like you don't have external light coming into your room. Turn off screen so you don't have light from the screen bothering you, things like that.
Yeah, awesome. No, I love it. That's really, really powerful. And so let's talk into diet a little bit more right now. So high protein foods, red meat. It's interesting actually, right? Is I noticed lately more I've been eating more red meat than I used to. And I reckon it's because of probably needing to counteract testosterone reducing or things like that over time just naturally that I found myself that being as a choice, like I've been wanting it, which is quite interesting from that side of things. So, but some people think, if you eat too much red meat or things like that, right? Like, so would it be like one red meat meal a day? Is that enough? Is that too much? Like, what are you thinking as a sort of a good amount, I guess, of red meat, in the diet? Yeah.
So I think, if you eat like grass-fed organic beef or other types of red meat, I think that is fine. And yeah, I would say one meal out of your day should be that. But there are other sources of protein too, right? You can eat white meat protein like chicken or turkey or something like that. And it's not as much the type of protein that you're eating, but the quantity of protein, because, I think if you get protein from dairy, chicken, turkey, beef, whatever it is, as long as you're getting the adequate amount of protein that you should be taking, uh, it doesn't matter. But red meat, like I said, it's the best because it has cholesterol, it has the most amount of like protein per gram, I would say. So that's why I would recommend that. I personally, don't eat as much red meat. I try to focus on white meat because one of the things is religious, but the other thing is more like I'm not into red meat as much. I have tried it, but I prefer, white meat, turkey, chicken type of things. But I think, if you are going to eat protein, then a red meat once in your days, I think should not be a problem. And make sure it's as long as it's like, grass-fed organic. See, what happens is people then put butter and like mashed potatoes and things like that, and then that becomes a very unhealthy meal. If you eat like a good steak, grilled and, with some vegetables and some other carbohydrates, I think that's a great meal.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree, and I do get the grass fed organic meat as well. It's definitely very nice, and you can taste the difference. And I also I get the mince actually as well. I find the mince is good because it's not like the steaks are nice, of course. But with the mince, you can create like other meals with it in like tomato sauces and other things. So it starts to become a bit more fun, right? In terms of what you can create from
Sure,
it.
yes.
Nice. Awesome. So I guess um let's talk. You touched on it, but I just want to talk about like the benefits a little bit more now, right? Because we talked about low testosterone and how you can feel and everything like that, like the low libido, the energy, these things, right? That can happen. So when we're getting to a point, and also like, what's the number, right? Because I think it was 1,200 or something when I read it. I don't know if that's true, right? But what's like you said, under 300 is low, right? So where do we sort of want to be? And what's the benefits of getting to that point, like ideally naturally, right? With the testosterone, yeah.
So, like you said, I think it varies from person to person because, like, something that my levels are okay for my day-to-day functioning may not be okay for you, depending upon your age, the type of work you're doing, a type of activities you're doing throughout the day. But I think somewhere between like 500 to 1200 nanograms per deciliter is the right range to be in. And I think I would say about 700 nanograms per deciliter would be the best median range that you could be at.
Yeah, cool, nice. Okay, good to know on that side. And then so then when we're at that 700 or more ish, period, amount, how are we going to feel, right? In doing our day-to-day work, business, things like that. How are we going to feel? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you will definitely notice dramatic changes in the things that I had pointed out before. You'll start losing fat around your stomach, abdominal fat. You'll notice that now you're recovering faster from strenuous activity like hikes or exercise, or even like if you're playing sports and like, after the game is over, you might recover faster. And then some people have said that their libido went up, their sex life has become very happy again, whatever. So you'll see those type of differences, and you'll get leaner because testosterone also helps you build lean muscle. So you'll get lean muscle, which will increase your metabolism, and also that will help you reduce your weight further. So you'll see those type of changes almost immediately. Yes, in some people, again, depending upon what you're doing, it may take a little longer to see those differences, but you'll definitely see those type of differences.
Yeah, nice, awesome. Yeah, I'm at a decent point with that, but I think we can always improve, right? That's always my mindset being in sport
Yeah,
or business.
sure.
It's like always improving, and going, well, this could be the edge, right? That gets us to where we
Yeah.
want to be better. Yeah.
Right. And testosterone is also, like I said before, it's not just for masculinity or building muscle, but testosterone has been linked to focus, drive, risk taking. If you're an entrepreneur, you need to take risks sometimes. You need to be focused on your objective, and you need to be driven to make your business successful. So if you have low testosterone, all those things will suffer. Your focus, your drive, and your risk-taking ability will suffer. So I think for entrepreneurs, it is actually very important to have healthy levels of testosterone so that they can perform at that level.
Yeah, definitely, and that's a big thing, right? I think it's an amazing point because we do have to perform to a level that's higher, right, or have a higher standard, especially if we're leading a company, right, to lead others, and we want to grow, right? We can't stay comfortable. We have to be uncomfortable in growth, right, in a good way to do that. So making sure that our hormones, especially testosterone, right, are in order to give us the best. We're not working against something that's pushing against us, right? It's helping us to move forward, which is yeah, really
Correct.
powerful.
Yeah.
Definitely. I love that. Now, one other thing I know that's interesting topic, if we switch a little bit, is about women, right? So I know there's
Mhm.
women potentially also benefiting from testosterone maybe as they get older or things like that. So share a little bit more around the women's side of things.
Yeah, so I think even for women, I think if you want to, maintain your health, and if you want to prevent your bones from being brittle, in addition to estrogen and progesterone, testosterone can also help women in those. And like you don't want to lose muscle mass as you get older, right? So in women, uh, women usually have like 1/10 of the testosterone levels that men have, but that testosterone levels are essential for them to maintain their muscle mass and maintaining their bones, stronger bones. So, and then if you're a woman entrepreneur, the same things that apply to men as far as testosterone is concerned apply to women also. Like, some amount of testosterone that women have, like if you look at women who have been very successful, I'm sure that some of that success they are deriving from the fact that they have higher levels of testosterone than other females. So I think while testosterone is a male hormone, it does play a role in women's health also.
Yeah, definitely. I'm seeing it a bit online with people that I know that are like the entrepreneurial women, especially as they're getting a bit older, as happens, as we reduce things over time, and then just making sure that it's in check, right? And it's obviously understanding their own situation, like what Annie said here, right? Like everybody's a little bit different because a elite athlete probably needs more testosterone, right? Than someone that's just working at a desk a lot of the time and doing a little bit of working out and stuff like that at the same time. So understanding, whether you're a man or a woman, all these things, right, are sort of part of it, right? To know, what's best for you. Correct? Yeah.
That is correct. And unfortunately, I don't have numbers for women, but at some point, I mean, yeah, I can get them to you if you want, but I don't know what the normal levels of testosterone should be for women, but I can get those to you if you want.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one, right? Well, you said a roughly 1/10, right? So you could probably make an assumption on going, well, how much
Yeah.
do you have? And going, but I guess for the women, yeah, it's an interesting one of, and I think the interesting point you made earlier, which I think was right? Because I know a lot of men in the entrepreneurial space, they just think about TRT, right? Testosterone replacement therapy. And they're like, I just need to take it and inject it in myself and I feel amazing and all this sort of stuff, right? But they don't think about the side effects that you talked about, where it's actually going to make it harder for you to create testosterone naturally after that. So you sort of become dependent, right, on it. Especially if
Yeah,
you
and then
want.
you have to be on it for life, because otherwise, since your body's testosterone is being suppressed, if you stop TRT, it'll take a long time for your body to start generating testosterone on its own, uh, because it's been suppressed for such a long time.
Yeah, it's such a big point, right? A lot of people don't think about the side effects, right? Or what, it happened. That's why I always like to research things a lot, like what's the pros and the cons. But as long as you don't get it to a point where you're extremely low and you can go, okay, well, I can just do the things that Annie's talked to us today about to increase it naturally, then I can get it to a point where I'm just, in control of my destiny, basically, right? With the testosterone. So I think that's the ideal option. And I think that's what I would take away, right, as myself, because I've looked into it. I even got a test done, but they said I was in an average range, so I didn't take it on, and now I'm glad in some ways because of what you've told me here today, right? That I didn't do it because it wasn't as needed. But now I'm like, well, I can do these other things that naturally do it. So I think this is a really really powerful topic for men to hear instead of just taking the thing, taking the therapy or the medication or whatever. It's like know what you're getting into before you do it. Yeah. So really, really powerful, mate. I think that's amazing. And I guess yeah, as we're starting to wrap up here today, Annie, what one key piece of advice would you like to give to all the entrepreneurs watching and listening today?
Uh, so I would say that, for any health condition, if you can modify your lifestyle and your diet, you'll see benefits for sure. And then if you start introducing things like exercise, stress reduction, getting good amount of sleep, because sleep, again, as an entrepreneur, if you want to perform, at your top, you need to get enough sleep, because I know many entrepreneurs think sacrificing sleep is the way to go. I should burn the candle on both ends. But there have been studies where they have shown that after a certain period of time, if you keep getting less and less sleep, you're not going to be productive. You're going to crash, and that it's not going to be very healthy. So what I would like to say is, make sure that you have a healthy lifestyle, eat a balanced diet, like proteins, carbohydrates, fats in proportion, and if you're trying to increase your testosterone, make sure that uh, your protein intake is adequate, reduce the stress, get lots of sleep, do exercise, and typical exercise, which I said before, like high intensity interval training, strength training, weight training. And you can do cardio also. I'm not saying, but cardio is not something that you would do to increase your testosterone. But if you have not been exercising, I would say start out with cardio and then build up to the other things. So that would be my advice. Make sure that uh, you change your lifestyle, change your diet, start getting into exercise, get good amount of sleep, and reduce the stress.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome stuff there. And Yeah, we connected through our networks. I learned about your awesome journey from being a pharmaceutical scientist to getting a PhD to now being a men's health coach as well. You're an awesome guy, mate. So knowledgeable and so such an important topic, right? Of how our health, especially testosterone, affects us to be able to show up best in our life, in our business, and everything like that today. And I'm sure you continue to help men reclaim their energy, confidence, and vitality naturally. I'm very grateful we connected. Look forward to partnering as well with you. So, Annie, how can people find you and get in contact with you?
Okay, so I am on LinkedIn. I'm on X. I can give you my handle. It's Dr. Ani Railkar, PhD. So that's my handle on X, on Instagram. On Facebook, it's just Ani Railkar, facebook.com/Ani Railkar. They can go to my website, which is the Dr. Ani, THEDRANI.com. And then you mentioned my book. The book is available on Amazon. Again, the book is called The Great Testosterone Myth. Honest Facts, No Hype. It's on Amazon. And they can always, send me an email. My email address is airrailcar@yahoo.com. And I will answer their questions. I have a Facebook group which is called the Testosterone Solution. They can join my Facebook group, and I always post, valuable information there. If I find something in the scientific literature, if I find something in other literature like health magazine, Men's Health, or whatever, I'll inform people about that. So they can get information from me that way. Uh, yeah, that would be my how they can get a hold of me.
Yeah, awesome. Well, definitely everyone there, check out Annie there, Facebook profile, the group, which sounds amazing, X, Instagram, LinkedIn, the email, the website that he said, obviously the book on Amazon. We'll have it all in the show notes for you now. Check it out. I'm definitely going to check it out more and be doing more of this because I know it's going to benefit me a lot, not just in my life, but in my business, right? But everything around it as well. So, mate, it's been a pleasure interviewing you. Thanks for being on the Business Growth Show.
Thank you, Ethan. I really appreciate it, and good luck to you as well. Your show is doing great, so I wish you like continued success. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Business Growth Show, where we talk about everything on business growth. And please like, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as Ethan Cassiotis, or visit my website, ethancassiotis.com. And if you want to grow and scale your business, you'd reach out to me on any platform to see if we're a good fit. So until next time, remember that our business grows where we learn skills and take action using them in spite of fear. So let's create wealth and freedom together.